In the headlines, Nigeria's inflation rate hits 34.6% in November 2024. Chief of Defense Staff probes death of Okwama community leaders in army custody. Supreme Court slams 5 million naira fine on ex-presidential candidate over frivolous suits against Tinubu. On the foreign scene, hundreds feared dead in Mayotte Island cyclone. Good evening and welcome to the news update on Trust TV. I am Aisha Salihu. For news in detail, Nigeria's inflation rate surged to 34.60% in November 2024, up from 33.88% in October, according to the latest report by the National Bureau of Statistics. The rise has sparked concerns among residents and experts alike as food inflation continues to drive the upward trend. Trust TV's Neil Sampson reports from Abuja.
FCT residents voiced their concerns over the relentless rise in inflation, which has significantly impacted their daily lives.
Commodities that we used to buy, like say 300 naira, has doubled the price. So it's affecting our income, and that is fast depleting the money that we have.
Yeah, for now, the rate has been increased. And what's the implication? One, it means that the value of Naira is being reduced.
It has always been, high, going on every day, and the things has been always been getting from bad to worse. So in other words, we don't expect anything good from anywhere.
Economist and development expert Aliu Ilyas attributed the inflation spike to several factors, including rising food prices and structural economic issues.
Right, I think it is expected that we'll have an increment in inflation, because if you look at our fuel issue, it keeps increasing. Now, if you look at the issue of exchange rates, it's still not balanced up to now. And we have some legacy problem, which has to do with insecurity. Then you recall that even President Bola Ahmed Tinubu would declare state of emergency on food security as of July last, 2023. Up to now, doesn't make effect. That simply means that the major drivers of this inflation is cost push inflation, and by extension it is food price inflation.
He also suggested measures to curb inflation, emphasizing the need for improved agricultural productivity, better fiscal management, and a stronger monetary policy framework.
Right. The first thing that I think we should do is the issue of exchange rate, because if you look at the exchange rate determines virtually everything. We may say we are not spending dollar. Apart from that, the issue of fuel is a big issue too. So we should have a stability in some sectors. That would have helped. Then majorly, if you look at what CBN is also trying to do, they are doing what we call what they are doing. They are sacrificing growth to bring down inflation.
The NBS report highlighted the year-on-year rise in food inflation was driven by price hikes in staples such as yam, maize, rice, palm oil. The average annual rate of food inflation reached 38.67%, a significant rise of 11.58% compared to November 2023. As inflation continues to affect households nationwide, experts are urging swift action to stabilize the economy and alleviate the burden on Nigerians. Noel Sampson, Trust TV News, Abuja.
And now to security matters. The Chief of Defense Staff, General Christopher Musa, has ordered a thorough investigation into the death of two Okwama community leaders, Pa James Ogoroko and Dennis Okugbaye, while in army custody. Ogoroko, the President General of the Okwama community, and 81-year-old Okugbaye, the community's treasurer, reportedly died 6 days apart after being detained by the military. The duo, along with 4 others, Arthur Ekpeko, Chief Belvis Adogbo, Mabel Ohemo, and Dennis Malaka, were arrested during a military operation conducted between August 18 and 20, 2024. The arrest followed the killing of 17 soldiers on March 14, 2024 during a peace mission aimed at resolving a dispute between Okwama and the neighboring Okoloba community. Speaking on the matter for the first time, the Director of Defense Information, Brigadier General Tukur Gusau, stated that the Chief of Defense Staff had directed the 6th Division of the Nigerian Army to investigate the allegations and submit a report by Monday. The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission has rearranged a former managing director of the defunct bank PHB PLC, now Keystone Bank Limited, Francis Atuche, and 2 others before the Special Offences Court sitting in Ikeja, Lagos, on a 9-count charge bordering on conspiracy to commit felony and forgery. Atuche and the 2 others, Nosiri Joachim, also known as Ifanyi, and Uguru Onyike, were arraigned before Justice Olubumi Abike Fadikwe. When the charge was read to the defendants, they all pleaded not guilty. Prosecution counsel Fanem Anum told the court that the matter is starting de novo and therefore asked the court for a trial date. Counsel to the first defendant, Anthony Ejere, however, asked the court to allow his client to enjoy the earlier bail granted him by the court, despite that he was still a convict in another matter. Also, counsel to the second and third defendants, Clement Onwewuno, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, asked the court to allow his clients to enjoy the earlier bail granted them by the court. In her short ruling, Justice Fadikwe upheld the request of their counsels that they be allowed to continue on the bail granted them by Justice Adeni Onigbanjo, retired. The court adjourned the case till May 6, 2025 for trial. The Supreme Court has imposed a 5 million naira fine on a former presidential candidate, Ambrose Owuru, for harassing President Bola Tinubu with frivolous and vexatious suits. Owuru, who contested the 2019 presidential election against former President Muhammadu Buhari on the platform of the Hope Democratic Party, was ordered to pay 5 million naira fine to Tinubu. Justice Wani Musa Abaji issued the order against the former presidential candidate while dismissing his fresh suit, praying for the removal of Tinubu as Nigeria's president. Apart from the 5 million naira fine, the Apex Court ordered its registry not to accept any frivolous suit originating summons from Owuru again. At the day's proceedings, Owuru, who claimed to be a lawyer called to the Nigerian bar in 1984, sought to argue his case wearing his wig and gown. He was ordered out of the bar and directed to remove his wig and gown before he could be allowed to argue his case. Upon complying with the orders, Owuru was asked why he came before the court again, having had his suit dismissed 3 times. Although he tried unsuccessfully to convince the Apex Court to grant him adequate audience, his explanations were rejected as unconvincing. Following his recalcitrant, the court threatened to refer him to the Legal Practitioners Disciplinary Committee. Justice Abaji ruled that Owuru's conduct was unbecoming of a lawyer of over 40 years, as he claimed to be. In the end, the court dismissed his suit and ordered him to pay Tinubu 5 million naira. To other stories. The Federal Executive Council on Monday approved the renaming of the University of Abuja as Yakubu Gowon University. The Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, disclosed this to State House correspondents following the Council's last meeting for 2024 at the Aso Rock Villa, Abuja. The University of Abuja, also known as Uni Abuja, was established in January 1988 under Decree number 110 of 1992 as amended as a dual-mode university with the mandate to run conventional and distance learning programs. The university started academic work in 1990 with the matriculation of its pioneer students. Yakubu Gowon is Nigeria's former military head of state. He ruled the country from 1966 to 1975. Also, during the address by the minister, he disclosed that President Bola Tinubu has approved free transportation nationwide ahead of Christmas celebration. He said the federal government will commence a nationwide free train services from the 20th of December to 5th of January 2025. Idris stated that the Federal Executive Council meeting will be on recess from 18th of December until 6th of January 2025. The planned presentation of the 2025 appropriation bill by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu before the joint sitting of the National Assembly has been shifted from Tuesday, December 17th to Wednesday, December 18th. The postponement was announced in a letter dated December 16, 2024, signed by the Secretary, Human Resources and Staff Development, National Assembly, Umar A. Alkali, titled Representation of 2025 Budget. The President was earlier scheduled to present the bill on Tuesday, as announced by the spokesperson of the House of Representatives, Rep. Member Akin Rotimi Jr., in a statement earlier on Thursday, December 12th. Media Trust Group, flagship publication Daily Trust newspaper, shone brightly at the 2024 Nigeria Media Merit Award on Sunday, as 4 of her journalists won the country's most prestigious awards. The journalists were Lami Sadiq, who won the Olagunshoye Oyinlola Prize for Culture and Tradition Reporter based on her story titled Concerns Rise Over Maria Rapist Practices in Nigeria, and the Alex Ibro Prize for Investigative Reporter of the Year on her story titled Inside Abuja's Kidney Market, where the rich preys on the poor. Others include Aziz Hanafi, who won the IGI Prize for Insurance Reporter of the Year based on a story titled Poor Insurance Culture Communes Farmers Anguish Amid Poverty, and Trustees Reporter Aisha Salihu won the Cadbury Nigeria PLC Prize for Television Reporter of the Year based on her story Cesarean Section, Mixed Reaction, Trail Rise in Popularity of Delivery Procedure. Congratulating the winners, President Bola Tinubu, represented by the Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, commended the efforts of the pioneers of the prestigious awards.
Efforts of those who institutionalized the Nigerian Media Merit Award as a foremost benchmarker of excellence in the fourth estate. It therefore becomes imperative that the NIMA is sustained with every sense of diligence and commitment to the ideals of journalism in Nigeria. Nigerian journalists, home and abroad, are known for distinguishing themselves in every stratum of the profession, winning prizes and global accolades. At home, we must be definitely grateful to the courage and determination of Nigerian media in battling and defending our much cherished democracy. And I want to use this opportunity to thank all of you for your untiring efforts in the preservation of the unity and progress of our dear nation.
The Federation Accounts Allocation Committee disbursed a total of 2.08 trillion naira in allocations to local government councils between July and December 2024, findings have shown. However, Despite the July 2024 Supreme Court ruling granting full financial autonomy to Nigeria's 774 local government areas, the allocations were still paid to state government accounts. This, it was learned, has irked officials and members of the Association of the Local Governments of Nigeria, a national union of local government employees. The landmark Supreme Court ruling directed that funds meant for local governments should be paid directly into their accounts, bypassing state governments in an effort to promote autonomy and ensure that the funds allocated to local governments were properly utilized. Nearly 6 months after the judgment, the federal government had not effected direct payment of allocations to the local governments as directed by the Apex Court. The Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Wale Edun, said the federal government was yet to commence direct payment to the respective local governments due to some practical impediments. He added that a committee had been set up by the federal government to look at the practicability of the judgment. And to a sad development, one yet to be identified person has died, while 5 others sustained varying degrees of wounds in a ghastly accident that occurred on the 3rd Mainland Bridge, Lagos, on Monday morning. This is coming barely 24 hours after 3 persons were killed in another auto crash that occurred on Sunday at the Ita-Olowo area of Ikorodu. Confirming the auto crash on 3rd Mainland Bridge on Monday, the General Manager of the Lagos State Traffic Management Authority, Olalekan Bakare Oki, stated that it involved a J5 Ford bus and a Mercedes truck. The LASMA General Manager stated that the accident specifically occurred at Ilubirin in Ward Sura along the 3rd Mainland Bridge. According to him, the auto crash claimed 1 life and left a total of 5 individuals injured. He further stated that in a coordinated effort to restore normalcy, LASMA's rescue team efficiently cleared the accident site, removing the vehicles and spilled perishable goods to ensure the free flow of traffic along the bridge. You're watching the news update coming to you live from Trust TV studios in the nation's capital. Coming up ahead, severe weather concerns impacting Kano residents' livelihood. We'll bring you plenty more after the break. We'll be right back. Welcome back and thanks for staying with us. Here is a recap of some of our top stories. Nigeria's inflation rate hits 34.6% in November 2024. Chief of Defense Staff probes death of Okwama community leaders in army custody. And now to more stories. The Defense Headquarters has refuted claims that the French military was planning to establish a base in Nigeria. A human rights activist, Mahdi Shehu, criticized the government on Saturday in a post for denying the development. In a video-accompanied post, Shehu claimed that some French military officers had arrived in Borno State as part of the process to set up the base. The post partly read, "Last week, the Chief of Defense Staff denied any plan to establish French military bases in Nigeria." Reacting in a statement on Monday, the Director of Defense Media Operations, Major General Edward Buba, dismissed the claim as fake and mischievous. The wife of Yohana Musa, the senior legislative aide to Donatus Matthew, member representing Kaura Federal Constituency, Lovelina Musa, and the staff of Government Secondary School Manchok, Joel Datijo, were abducted from their residence at the GSS staff quarters in Moro Chiefdam, Kaura local government area of Kaduna State. The incident occurred on Friday between 9 and 10 p.m. during an operation by armed bandits. Confirming the abduction, Emmanuel Bawa, president of the Kaura Youth Coalition, expressed concern over the rising wave of kidnappings in the area. He revealed that in the last 2 months, the wife of Donatus Shemang and the wife of the district head of Bandun were also abducted. He called on the government to intensify efforts to address the security challenges by deploying more personnel to the area. He also urged residents to remain vigilant and report any suspicious activities to the nearest security agencies. Efforts to reach the Police Public Relations Officer of the Kaduna State Police Command, ASP Mansur Hassan, were unsuccessful, as he neither answered calls nor responded to messages from this reporter. From health concerns to the rising cost of protective clothing, this year's Harmattan is making a noticeable impact on the lives of residents across Kano State. Trustee Abdulaziz Ibrahim reports on the changing weather conditions and its effects on everyday life. Take a look.
Harmattan has arrived in Kano, and its effects are being felt across the region. Typically marked by dry, dusty winds and chilly mornings, this year's Harmattan has turned harsher than usual. Residents are adapting their routines to cope with extreme weather, which, according to experts, poses serious health risks, particularly for children and the elderly.
So for the chronic illnesses, we have illnesses such as asthma and maybe bronchitis. So this low temperature and then dusty condition will tend to aggravate the condition as much as during the year. These conditions can happen at all times of the year, but especially during the Harmattan season, which tends to aggravate the condition.
The soaring prices of winter essentials like sweaters, jackets, gloves, and even face masks are making it harder for many to prepare adequately. Vendors insist their hands are tied by market forces, but say they are doing their best to offer customers affordable options.
Farashi ya fi na da, domin duk da haka mu alhamdulillah harkar gwanjo.
The price is higher than it used to be, but our second-hand clothes market is such that people can still get clothes for 1,000 naira, 500 naira, and even 300 naira. And this is despite the high cost of living these days. It's quite helpful to have this second-hand clothes market here. Health professionals in Kano have issued vital advice to help residents navigate the season safely.
People should try to avoid any unnecessary outdoor activities for now because of the harsh weather. As long as you don't have any necessary thing to do, you can stay indoors or try to wear protective clothing, such as maybe scarves, sweaters, and socks, and all other protective clothing that can help you to maintain your higher body temperature as opposed to the low environmental temperature, which can expose you to hypothermia.
From health challenges to the financial strain of staying protected, this year's Harmattan serves as a stark reminder of how climate change is altering even the most familiar weather patterns. From Kano, Abdulaziz Ibrahim reporting for Trust TV.
To developments in business, the Security and Exchange Commission said that the federal government of Nigeria has issued 6 sovereign sukuk worth 1.1 trillion naira to finance 124 federal road projects covering over 5,820 kilometers across the 6 geopolitical zones of the country. Director General of the SEC, Momotimi Agama, who stated this during the ongoing Second International Islamic Capital Market Conference in Karachi, Pakistan, Thursday, said the success rate makes the Islamic capital market stand out as a resilient and innovative tool for mobilizing resources. Agama described the issuance of sovereign sukuk since 2017 as a key pillar responsible for growth of the ICM in Nigeria. adding that these issuances have consistently been oversubscribed, with subscription rates reaching as high as 441%. He disclosed that subnational and corporate sukuk issuances are also growing in Nigeria. Notable examples include Osun and Lagos States, Family Homes Limited, and Taj Bank PLC, along with private sukuk issuances by 3 other subnationals, saying that these instruments have been instrumental in funding school infrastructure, housing, and a first of its kind in Nigeria, Tier 1 capital for a bank, and underscores the versatility of sukuk as a financing tool. And now to developments away from Nigeria. Rescuers race against time Monday to reach survivors after a devastating cyclone ripped through the French Indian Ocean territory of Mayotte, destroying homes across the islands with hundreds feared dead. Images from Mayotte, which, like other French overseas territories, is an integral part of France and ruled from Paris, showed scenes of devastation with homes reduced to piles of rubble. The crisis, which erupted at the weekend, the day after President Emmanuel Macron appointed Francis Bayrou as the 6th Prime Minister of his mandate, poses a major challenge for a government still only operating in a caretaker capacity. The cyclone has left health services in tatters, with the hospital extremely damaged and health centers knocked out of operation, Health Minister Genevieve Darasque told France 2. And in sports, Rivers United technical advisor Finidi George has commended his players for their overall performance against Kwara United. The Pride of Rivers defeated Kwara United 2-1 at the Adokiye and Mercy Marker Stadium, Port Harcourt, on Sunday. Timothy Zakaria and David Benjamin's scores for Rivers United were on target for the host. Akani Akim grabbed the only goal for Kwara United. Finidi admitted that the encounter was tough. And on that note, we've come to the end of the news update on Trust TV at this hour. You can always follow us across all of our social media platforms, and also join our YouTube live stream for more news, programs, and documentary. I'm Aisha Salihu. Thank you for your time.